And this is the elimination. This is the elimination method. Okay? So here we have it, 3x plus 2y equals 4, and 5x minus 2y equals 8. Okay? And you say, what's the advantage of this method versus substitution method? Well, this method, the way it's already set up, it's much easier because I don't have to isolate a variable. I could just work with these two together and make it into one equation. What I'm going to do is see how I have positive 2y there and negative 2y. That's shouting out at me saying, hey, why don't we just add top to bottom? Because what would happen is these y's would cancel out. So that's all we're going to do is just add top to bottom. So we get 8x by y equals 12. We divide out the 8, divide out the 8. We get x is 12 over 8. Reduce that by 4 is 3 over 2. 3 over 2. Now I know what x is. Pick one of these, either one. I always like working with positive values, so I'll use the top one and plug in that 3 over 2 into the top and solve for y. So we get, so I'm using this equation right here, the top. Well, you could use, actually, you have choice. You could use either one. I like to use positive stuff, so I'll use the top equation and substituting in our value. That's 9 over 2 plus 2y equals 4. Subtract away 9 over 2, subtract away 9 over 2. So 2y equals, make that 4, that's 8 over 2, minus 9 over 2 is negative 1 over 2. So we could cross multiply this, we get, so we'll do this up here, we get 2y equals negative 1 over 2. What do we do right there? You could cross multiply a bunch of ways. I'll just cross. We get 4y equals negative 1. Divide out the 4. Divide out the 4. We get y equals negative 1 over 4. And remember, x was 3 over 2. Okay? So using the elimination method, we get our answers right there. Very good, x and y. And the more you do these, the better you're going to get, and then you can start deciding, all right, I think it's easier to eliminate than it is to substitute, or it's vice versa, it's easier to substitute than eliminate. But all of the ones we're going to do today, we're going to do the elimination method, to keep practicing that. Okay, and number 2, and you as an exercise should be checking these answers. You should be checking all the answers that I do, because I'm human and I could make a mistake. So you should be checking all these answers that I do. And it's also a good exercise for you. So we get 3x plus y equals negative 5. And then we have 2x minus 3y equals negative 7. Okay? So we know this is the elimination method, and now it's not so nice as the question before. We have to pick a variable that we could get rid of. We could do something to get rid of it. And I'm going to pick, since I have a negative 3y down here, and I have a positive y up here, I could do something, and it's perfectly legal to multiply the top by 3. So we get 9x plus 3y equals negative 15, and it's perfectly legal because if I multiply it on the left by 3, I got to multiply on the right by 3. So there it is, and now we're going to write this at the bottom. And now we can add the top to the bottom. The 3's cancel out, the y's, 3y plus 3y minus 3y goes bye-bye. 9 plus 2 is 11x. And we get negative 15 and negative 7 is negative 22. Divide out the 11, divide out the 11, and we get x is negative 2. That's a nice number. And again, same thing, but go back to the original. Don't use your one that you multiply by. Pick one of these two, plug in the negative 2 to find your y. I'll use the bottom one this time to show you guys that don't discriminate against the negatives. I love the negatives. We need them as much as we need the positives. So we're going to do 2, plug in that negative 2, minus 3y equals negative 7. So we get negative 4 minus 3y equals negative 7. Add the 4, and we get negative 3y equals negative 3. Divide out the negative 3, divide out the negative 3, and it turns out that y is positive 1.